Hello. Welcome to Time Served. I am sheriff in this here parts, and today we have two dastardly defendants. One in Judge Simpson's court and Judge Bryant. The first case we call Bryant vs. Bryant, and there is no family feuding here.
The defendant, Mr. Bryant, gets a mouthful from Judge Bryant and must have the testes the size of a bull to yell at his probation officer in the 36th District. And Judge Bryant goes ballistic.
She makes it abundantly clear that there is no relation between the two, but she does show her compassion once again to help Mr. Bryant in the end. Let's roll, nerd.
Failure to comply with this court's order, and I'm not going to waste the court's time and get into, any back and forth about anything other than the fact that there may have been some confusion. Totally on Mr. Bryant's part with regard to what he should and should not have been doing about this case and during COVID. Judge, I am just asking the court to give Mr. Bryant the opportunity to come into compliance.
No,
I don't see how that would.
You. No, he already told Ms. McCall that he wasn't going to do it. Why would I give him a chance to do it? He was clear in his words and very rude and disrespectful in his language. It just seemed to me that anybody with half an ounce of decency wouldn't curse out the probation officer, let alone a man cursing out the female probation officer. It's just some stuff that's just rude and disrespectful on any level, let alone talking about being in court, let alone talking about someone calling you in their professional capacity, someone who didn't order him to do any of the things that he was ordered to do, yet Miss McCall had to be subject to rudeness and cursing and all of that. No, he is clear. And based upon what I read in the report, he maybe he feel like, this little bit of something, if he would have let us help him, maybe he wouldn't be facing these other charges. And of course, the other charges are charges, and I'm clear about that. Those other charges are charges, and he is innocent until proven guilty. And I am a staunch believer in that. But what I'm saying to you is, it's so rude and disrespectful. And if I was Miss McCall, I probably would have lost my job, because they would have heard me cursing back at him. Probably. No, they probably wouldn't have. They might have heard me saying some stuff at him, no, because this is rude and this is disrespectful and this is unnecessary. And Miss McCall, she didn't wake up in the morning, go to work and say, "Oh, let me call my probationers so they can curse me out." That's so disrespectful. Miss Stevenson.
Thank you, Judge. And instantly, I went all over that with Mr. Bryant when the court let me talk with him on the phone just a few minutes ago. And instantly, once the court made its position clear, instantly, Mr. Bryant adjusted his behavior. I make no excuses for the conversation that Mr. Bryant had with Ms. McCall. I believe it happened, and I don't make any excuses for it. But I do believe that the conditions of probation that have been set forth by this court could do nothing but benefit Mr. Bryant and this community if he were to take advantage of that. So I'm going to ask the court to give him an opportunity to do that. I think Mr. Bryant, he clearly understands, and he's demonstrated by his adjustment and his behavior what happens if he doesn't follow court orders.
Well,
and I think it's good that he came to court in person rather than, having the cloak of Zoom, to kind of protect him and kind of embolden him to do some things that he knows he should not be doing. But he has adjusted his behavior. He's changed his tune. He's acknowledged having talked with Ms. McCall. He did tell me that he didn't believe that he agreed to these terms and conditions of probation, but I did express to Mr. Bryant that was the sentence of the court, and so he really wasn't in a position to agree.
Oh, I guarantee
anything.
I guarantee you, if I have Mr. Flanagan pull the file, because this is when we were in person. This was before COVID. This is when they were signing to acknowledge the receipt of it. But I'm glad you explained to him that nobody asked him to agree to the terms and conditions. What would my job be if I needed the defendants to agree to the terms and conditions of the order? Then we would just ask the defendant, well, what do you want to do? We only need a secretary to write down what somebody say. We only need a secretary to type in what somebody say they want to do on probation. We don't need a judge who went to law school and practiced law. We don't need a judge if all we're gonna do is have people agree to what they want to do.
So I think he's heard that, Your Honor. And I'm asking for an opportunity to comply with the order.
What? This is not his first rodeo. You saying he asking, and you saying you acting like he new to this. He not new to this.
I'm acting like an advocate, and I'm asking the court, to give Mr. Bryant an opportunity to benefit from the conditions of probation, which this court did order.
Well,
he did come to court in person, Judge.
He thought he had to. He thought he had to, Mr. Stevenson. Well, he didn't even have a Zoom ID number. Let me say this to you.
Everybody
6115 Seneca. 6115 Seneca. Well, if he didn't come in person, he wouldn't have come because he didn't even have a Zoom information. He thought he had to come in person because he looking at these other cases that he had and they were in person. Those cases were in person. So he was thinking he had to come in person. First of all, he shares my last name, which is an embarrassment. So let me just say that. Yep, it is. It is, because you done cursed out the probation officer. So that's in a minute.
Probably not.
So I'm letting you know it is an embarrassment. And I want everybody to know we're not related. We're not related in any way, shape, or form. Because the people related to me wouldn't be cursing out their probation officer. That's number one. Number two, he's not new to this, but it looks like he's true to this. Let me say that. He's not new to this. But it's certainly looking like he's true to this, true to coming to court, true to having cases, true to not following his probation. I don't know Mr. Bryant. Therefore, all I can do is look at his resume, and your resume sucks. So I don't know who he is. I don't know where he came from. I don't know what he's done in his life, but I'm looking at his resume. And it looks to me like the job he's applying for is the Michigan Department of Corrections.
Well, let's not hire him today, Judge. Today, let's let him go ahead and try to make something good of his life.
I don't want to hire him today. But what I want him to do is stop being a statistic. What I want him to do is stop proving people correct who says that when Black young boys are born, that they're only going to end up in prison. What I want him to do is stop making those people correct. What I want him to do is act like that somebody in his lifetime told him to be respectful to a Black woman who has probably struggled her life, and now she got a job as a probation officer, and she's done nothing to Mr. Bryant to cause him to curse at her.
Completely true.
Why did I say 6115 Seneca? Because that's where I was raised at, the east side of Detroit. And this is some street stuff you doing right here. But what I want to say is I can go street too. When you get street, I can get street too. So your behavior has been deplorable. Your actions on this probation have been deplorable. And Mr. Bryant, if you want to prove the people right, who have discounted you, who don't think nothing about you, who expect this type of behavior from you, keep proving them right. Keep proving them right. But when people don't think anything of you, the best revenge for that is to prove them wrong. Now, I'll let you speak. You can speak.
Your Honor, I was in a dark place at that time, and I was totally wrong. If I could take my action back, as far as that day in that conversation with the probation officer, I definitely would. Now, I'm a little sober now, well, a lot sober than I was then. I had some serious things happen. My wife got killed. I got shot 3 times. So I'm trying to get a lot of stuff behind, if that makes sense.
It does. Mr. Bryant, it does. And let me say this, I've never had a spouse to get shot. I've had some people die. I've had some people to die prematurely. I've had some people, but I never lashed out at somebody else. But we all handle stuff differently. So I appreciate the apology, and I'm sure Ms. McCall will too.
I was all the way wrong now, all the way.
All right. Well, I'm glad, because you see my two officers, they standing behind you. I can only see one half of one of them. Because I told them to get ready for the great door. Because I felt like you wanted to go to jail. You ain't want to do it. I felt like you ain't want to do it.
Your Honor, I just spent 60 days in the county this year.
Did you?
I don't want no more parts of the county.
And that's what I don't understand, why people do stuff to go back to. It was dirty, wasn't
it? That's an understatement.
I know it is. And the food was nasty. Did you eat for 60 days? Because I would have went on a fast.
Gotta eat to stay alive.
I know, but I would have been on a fast. Maybe I need to, because I need to lose about 20 pounds.
Sure. At least.
Maybe, but I don't want to have to lose it in the jail, because I'm gonna lose more than 20 if I go in there. Listen, Mr. Bryant, I appreciate the apology. Let me double back and say this. I am so sorry for your loss. Now, I've meant everything I said this morning, but I'm so sorry for your loss. I'm sorry for your loss. I'm assuming your wife was at least your age or younger. And so I'm so sorry for your loss. I would not want anyone to experience that loss. And so I'm so sorry for your loss. But you got to learn how to redirect and take and not take. We're not responsible for what is occurring in your life. And in truth, if you give us an ounce of a chance, we are here to help you. I know that sounds crazy when you think about court, but you don't know me and I don't know you, even though we share the same last name. You don't know me and I don't know you. And you don't understand and realize, what it is that we stand for in this courtroom and what it is that we're trying to do. And that's why when I get attacks and people talk about us and do everything, I understand it, because when you're trying to help people, a lot of people don't want people to be helped, which is the craziest thing to me. So I appreciate your contriteness. I appreciate the fact that you doubled back. I appreciate the fact that you did stand up. And then I did misunderstand your head shaking. And when I said I was going to bring in Mr. Hunter, and then you were just trying to tell me you talked to a female, and you are correct, Miss McCall. So my officers, they could stand down, because I told them, get ready to put him in the back. Like, we ain't even playing. Get ready to put him in the back, because he want to go in the back. I was thinking you were saying, I want to go in the back. You're facing some stuff, Mr. Bryant. You are facing some things. You have some show causes coming up at 36th District Court. You owe a lot of money to the court, and you have a felony case pending with Judge Christopher Blount, who used to be my colleague on the 36th. So you got some stuff that you're dealing with. And if drinking is any part of it, or drinking or drugs, because this particular case is a drug case, you need to stop immediately, and you need to try to lean into this probation, because it may be able to help you be successful in the other things that you're facing. The tools that we're trying to send you to, I don't know what he was ordered to do. I'm looking for it. I'm trying to look for it on the register. But if I can get Mr. Bryant to Mr. Rice, I think we can do a world of difference. But let me see what he was ordered to do. I don't see the terms of his probation. I just see the money. Oh, here it say no illegal drugs, random outpatient treatment, mental health evaluation by this commissioner. So this is what I'm going to do. I want to amend his sentence. And instead of the 5 days of community service, I want him to do the choices program with Mr. Rice, or either choices or aggressive self-realization, whichever one Mr. Rice think is most appropriate. So I want to amend his sentence, and instead of 5 days of community service, I want him to see Mr. Rice. Now, Mr. Brian, you told Ms. McCall who gonna pay for it, who gonna pay for the drug test, for the urinalysis test. You say, who gonna pay for that? You ain't doing that. So let me say this to you, Mr. Bryant. I don't want you to go to jail or prison, neither one. But from this point forward, you should understand that it's basically your choice. Like, you're choosing where you want to go if you continue in your behavior. What I will do is I'm still ordering the drug test. I'm still ordering the urinalysis. But if you do it at the court, if you do it in the court's lab, hold on, let me write this, Mr. Rice. Choices.
One more time, Your Honor. I'm working again, so if I have to pay something,
all right. So if you're working now, then you can start paying towards these. But if you come and if you do your drug test at the court, then I'll waive the fee for the drug test. But if you do it, if it's like more convenient for you to do it at one of the outside labs, I have no control over their fees and I can't waive them. But if you do it at the court, I'll waive the fee. And then you owe us on this probation $12.66. And then you need to try to get on a payment plan with your traffic balance. But when you see Judge Yancey, you have a show cause with her, maybe she can do something with your traffic balance too.
He just went recently, Judge, and so he said some of that has been adjusted. I've suggested to Mr. Bryant that he stop downstairs in anticipation of this court giving him some mercy, that he go downstairs and get.
One day I'm gonna prove you wrong. One day I'm gonna just let mercy go out the door. One day I'm gonna prove her wrong. Well, I was gonna prove her wrong today if Mr.
Right, it was so close. Thank you, Mr. Bryant.
It was real close. But according to Ms. McCall's report, though, he has another upcoming on May 22nd.
Right.
So he has May 22nd and July 5th. I don't know why they gave him two separate ones, but when you go on May 22nd, ask them to pull all your tickets. There's no sense of you coming back to Judge Yancey twice. You have a court date, I'm sure it's on Zoom, with Judge Yancey on May 22nd.
I know that.
Yeah. So Mr. Flanagan, maybe you could print him out the show cause. It's I could give you the case number, Mr. Flanagan.
Okay.
His case number is SP 1365652.
All right, I'll print it out.
And it says he has a show cause on May 22nd. I want to see Mr. Bryant in 2 months. I'm going to reinstate him. When you talk to Miss McCall, first thing you're going to do is apologize to her, okay?
No problem, yeah.
Yeah, apologize and tell her I was having a bad day and I'm sorry I took it on you. Can we just get started with this? And then she gonna say, yeah, but don't curse me out again. Okay, so probation reinstated. And I want to see Mr. Bryant in July. So let's see. I want to see him July 26th. Let's do July 26th at 10 o'clock.
And the other conditions, Your Honor,
everything else stays the same. What?
Okay.
Let me see. He has to get back reinstated with testing. Well, it says at JAMS, but not at JAMS. They know not to send my people to JAMS until JAMS get their system together. But testing twice a month. It said NA twice a week and outpatient treatment. I will amend that to say, well, he just told me he was drinking. So I'm going to amend that. So Mr. Flanagan, you could also, I'm going to amend that to say any positive screens, then he has to go to NA and outpatient. And I mean, anybody know that he needs some type of grief counseling or something in losing his wife. So I do want him to at least, maybe do some grief counseling So it won't take him to drinking. But I think if he sees Mr. Rice is going to give him some tools to help him. All right. Anything further? She going to give you instruction in anticipation of mercy. Isn't that something?
So he still has to do the mental health evaluation?
Mr. Bryant, did you go to grief counseling?
No, ma'am.
I want him to go to grief counseling.
Okay.
So he doesn't have to do the mental health evaluation, but I want him to get some grief counseling. How long ago did your wife pass?
Year and a half ago.
How long ago did you get shot?
It was the same incident.
Oh, okay. I want him to go to grief counseling. So I want probation, they're going to help you find a grief counselor, or Mr. Rice can help you. But you need at least a couple of sessions of grief counseling. You might be dealing with some survivor's remorse if it was the same incident. You might be dealing with some survivor's remorse. You might be dealing with some other stuff. I don't know the circumstances of the shooting, but you need to just get some grief counseling and get some tools so you don't take it out on other people. All right. So let's do an amended probation order. Let's get him situated with Mr. Rice, and let's get him back on track. Anything further?
I don't have anything. You want to say anything, Mr. Bryant?
Thank you, y'all.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All right. Oh, and then of course, I'm a part of his probation is to stay in compliance with any bond conditions on your circuit court matter. Make sure you're complying with whatever bond conditions they've set. All right, then we're all set, Mr. Bryant. We're gonna mail you a copy of that updated probation order. So let's make sure we have his correct address. I think you all said you had him fill out a form.
Yeah, thank you very much, Sharon. Take
All
care,
right.
Mr. Bryant.
Thank you.
Welcome.
All right, you're welcome.
Mr. Gregory, co-host again.
Wow, that was just wonderful. Judge Bryant never disappoints. However, she needs to make some room for the goat Judge Cedric J. Simpson, and he butts heads with a tail. Toting back, talking, lying inmate that gets higher than a giraffe's eyebrow and needs a lot more than an attitude adjustment. So let's take a look in courtroom 14.
Has a bond in that matter, and I can look and tell you.
That was on the matter that was before Judge Freshour. That's now my case. She doesn't have a bond on that one.
I don't believe so, Your Honor. I believe it is a PR. So she is only being held in custody on this case.
All right.
Actually, Your Honor, it shows bond denied on both.
Yeah, that was my understanding. So she doesn't, when you say she doesn't have a bond, she's not getting out either way.
And I don't understand, and maybe they have not updated things because the jail shows her court date in that matter to be June 15th. So maybe they have not corrected the date to May 24th with you.
Correct. Okay. So she's not, given the fact that she's basically been denied that and bond on that other case that is now my case, so she won't be getting out. And I have this, I could deal with it, but it doesn't seem to me to make much sense to not try to put all of that together under one umbrella and adjourn this out to the 24th.
Can I say something, Your Honor?
You can go for it.
So I got out of jail, and when I got out of jail last month, I was doing really good. I relapsed one time, and then that was the date I had to go and drop was the very next day. I've been doing really good other than that, and I relapsed because I'm in a new relationship, and I figured since I'm, early recovery and stuff that a new relationship isn't great for me, and so I told him that it would be better if we were just friends.
Your Honor, and I have something to say to that. When I did the PSI with Miss Harburg, she did report to me that she drank alcohol the day she got out of jail to celebrate getting out of jail, knowing that she had these other cases.
I didn't realize that it was the bond was so that I couldn't do anything. I didn't realize that because the bond was set for 3 years ago, and I didn't read the paperwork apparently.
Your Honor, and I also have some other concerns. Miss Harburg is receiving medicated assisted treatment. She is receiving methadone, and with her using the drugs that she's using along with that's a recipe for disaster for her, and I have serious concerns.
I stopped using heroin completely. The fentanyl was in the cocaine that I used. It was not in any, I haven't used any heroin at all. Only using the methadone for my opiate addiction.
Okay. But you do understand with the fentanyl that that's still going to cause a...
I understand, and I've completely stopped using cocaine and everything else. Like, I only did it one time because I was relapsed and I was really in a bad place. But I've been doing really good, and so I'm really upset that I'm here because I fucked up one time.
I don't think that is a legal term, but...
Sorry,
I'm sorry. Young lady, look. You get out, right? You drink. Then we get to you. Do you have a marijuana card?
Yeah, I'm in the process of getting it right now. I have to go.
You don't have, okay.
I have to get my state ID.
You don't have a card, right?
No.
And so when we went and had you tested, and this was only 9 days ago that we had you tested, you come back with 3 drugs in your system. That's the problem.
Yeah, I know. It looks really bad. My words don't mean anything right now, and it really sucks.
Well, it doesn't just look bad, it is. And then on top of that, when Miss Polera asked you,
I was trying to be honest.
What did you say?
I was trying to be honest.
You were trying to be honest?
Yeah, because she was asking.
And what, and that just didn't work for you, or what happened?
I mean, it doesn't.
When Miss Polera asked you if you were using, what did you say?
I told her no.
And that wasn't true, was it?
No.
And so when you tell me that you've been clean,
I was afraid to go back to jail.
Hold on. You know what, young lady?
I'm sorry, I'm listening.
I've been dealing with addicts a long time. And the one thing that they do is they'll, at times, won't tell me the truth. And then the other thing is, you try to overtalk me.
I'm sorry.
So I'm going to let you say whatever you want to say, but you're going to ultimately end up answering my questions.
Which is?
That was not the only time that you used.
It was. I'm being totally honest when I say I have no reason to lie about this. I really don't. I use.
Yeah, you do.
I mean, I don't lie. I mean, I try not to lie.
Sure. Oh, okay. All right.
I was afraid of going back to jail.
Go ahead. I'm going to listen to you.
I was afraid of going back to jail when I did the.
And how'd that work?
Not great, because here I am.
Yep. So here's what I'm going to do, because I think at some point you're going to need to have an in-depth conversation with your attorney. And given what I'm hearing, given what I'm seeing, I'm not sure that I would have followed this recommendation anyway of just 4 days. Because I really don't believe that you stopped. I don't believe you get all that into your system, then lie to the probation department, get you tested, and then
I was supposed to test yesterday. If I would have been able to go in and test, you would have seen that I'm not using anymore.
Because you've been in jail.
No, I just got put in jail yesterday. I was supposed to drug test yesterday at community corrections, and if I would have been able to go in and test, you would be able to see that I don't have any of that shit in my system anymore.
So you tested on 4/27. Oh, we have a 5/1 test. Yeah, I think you need to have a more thorough conversation with probation or with your attorneys regarding this and the other matter, as well as what you're doing. Because quite frankly, you're out there doing this and you're going to end up killing yourself. And unless you start about stuff and whatever.
I just wanted to say one more thing is that I know how badly my heroin use was killing me. And last time I got out of jail last month, I was really, really like on track to get better. And that's why I started going to the methadone clinic every day. And I've been going every day. There's paperwork showing that I went every day and I do all the tests that they asked. Like I said, I relapsed one time. My boyfriend got upset about something and he was really mopey and I couldn't handle it because I had just gotten out of jail. I was still newly recovering and I couldn't deal with it. And so yeah, I did go out and use, but I haven't used since then. I have no desire to use. I really don't. I really do want to get better.
So you're saying that on 4/27, when you tested positive, April 27th, that that's the same drugs that were in your system that then appeared on 5/1?
I'm not sure. No, I used the night before I dropped. That's the night that I relapsed.
So you used on April 30th because you tested on 5/1, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Then why on April 27th were you testing positive?
April 27th. I didn't go in for another drug test. I only went in for one.
That's not what my report says. It says in the report that I have from Community Corrections, she reported to me that she's been clean, same thing that she said to probation, since she was released from the Washtenaw County Jail. However, when tested on April 27, 2023, she tested with a positive result for THC, fentanyl, and cocaine.
I think that was
Then the other part, hold on.
Okay.
Then the other part of the report indicates that they received our new report and that then you tested on 5/1, 2023 and tested positive for that.
Well, those were the same drugs because I never used but one time.
Your Honor, I believe that they
Do they have their dates confused, or?
I think I know that she tested on April 27th, and I don't show another test. Her next test should have been yesterday, which they have her down as missed. That's because she was here in court.
Yeah.
So where they've indicated 5/1, it is only that 4/27 test?
It is. That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay, then we need to get that corrected by Community Corrections. I want a clarification of that.
I will send them a message.
All right. Just so that we're clear on all of that. All right. Well, I think, counsel, then here's what I'm going to do, just because I'm not sure I believe what the defendant is telling me. I'm going to adjourn this to May 24th, 2023, 9 a.m. or as our Zoom invite indicates. I would indicate that if you wish her bond to be reduced in this and the other matter, you can file a motion before the court to do so. But at this time, I'm not reducing her bond. Her bond will continue as denied. Thank you. Court calls the case, People versus Nicholas Edgar.
Well, there you go. There is just something wrong with society today. The level of disrespect is just ridiculous. Thank goodness there are outstanding people on the bench that not only uphold the law, but show compassion even when they do not deserve it. I'm Sheriff Time, and you have been served, Ed.